The Unexpected Journey. Episode 5. The Person in the Photo. Daniel's world was already slipping at the edges, but now, by pure accident, Erik has been pulled into the drift. He was never supposed to be here. Yet here he is. Daniel and Erik stood there in the hallway. Daniel stared at the floor. Erik looked at Daniel, turned and looked at the door where the shadow had appeared just moments ago. He felt disbelief and fear at the same time. No one said anything for a couple of minutes, until Erik said,
"Daniel, we need to talk about what happened. I don't care how strange it sounds. I saw it. I heard it. And I know you've been dealing with this longer than you're telling me."
Erik, it's not that simple.
Then make it simple. Start from the beginning. Has anything like this happened before?
Daniel hesitated, not because he didn't want to answer, but because he didn't know where the beginning was anymore.
There was something on Oak Ridge Lane, the morning this all started. It's a few weeks ago. Or is it days? I'm not sure. What happened? I got a message telling me to check my photos.
Daniel unlocked his phone. His hands were steady. Too steady, Erik thought, for someone who had just seen what they'd seen. He opened the gallery, scrolled, stopped.
Here, this one.
Erik leaned in. The image was blurry, taken from behind Daniel, standing in the middle of Oak Ridge Lane, staring at the figures. But in the corner of the frame, a face. A man. Someone Daniel recognized.
Wait, is that Ron? I haven't seen that man in years. He shouldn't have been there. Looks exactly the same after all this time.
The photo didn't just unsettle Daniel. It stirred something old. Memories he'd pushed aside, details he'd never questioned. And Erik, shaken by what he'd witnessed in the house, wasn't about to let it go. He needed answers. And Daniel needed distance. So they left the house behind and drove toward the one place where the past still had a shape. Daniel's childhood home. Daniel hadn't been here in months, but the house felt exactly the same, as if time had been waiting for him. Evening had turned to night when Erik steered his Mazda up on the driveway of the shepherd's house. The house was dark, and Daniel's parents had probably already fallen asleep.
Where did you keep your old stuff? School things, photos, anything from back then?
Upstairs. The attic.
With intention to not wake anyone up, they climbed the old creaky stairs to the attic with caution. Daniel reached out, fumbling, but found it, the light switch. The air was colder up here. Dust hung in the light like suspended memories.
There. That box.
Daniel pulled the box into the light under the bulb. He ripped the old tape, that was dry at this point, and it didn't take much to peel it off. Old notebooks, school drawings, class photos, pieces of a childhood Daniel barely remembered.
Daniel, look at this.
A photo. A schoolyard. Children running. And in the far background, a familiar silhouette.
That's him. Ron. He looks exactly the same.
He shouldn't be in this photo. I must have been 8.
And on the edge of the frame, a clock on the school wall, frozen at 8:17. Something shifted in Daniel. A memory rising, but not from him. A subtle whoosh, a faint echo of children's voices. He saw himself, small, standing outside the kiosk. Ron behind the counter. watching him. Not smiling, not speaking, just watching.
Daniel? Hey, Daniel!
With something best described as a snap, he was back in the present.
I saw something, but it didn't feel like my memory. What do you mean? It felt like someone else remembering me.
They heard distant footsteps from downstairs and walked down. A soft sound of a kettle boiling came from the kitchen. Amanda had been awake the whole time, listening, waiting.
You're home late.
We found something in the attic.
He put the photo on the table. Amanda looked at the picture, just for a second, but it was enough. A flicker of recognition and fear.
You shouldn't dig too deep into this, Daniel.
Mom, you know something, don't you?
Some things are better left where they belong.
But her voice trembled, just slightly, and that was enough for Erik.
What aren't you telling us?
Not now, please.
The night is cold, and the wind makes the leaves skitter across the pavement.
I need to see it. The kiosk, where he worked. It's been closed for years. Let's just look.
They approached the old structure that once was the kiosk, a metal shutter rattling in the wind. The kiosk stood exactly where Daniel remembered it, but something was wrong. It looked untouched, preserved, as if time had stopped paying attention.
Look at this, the sign.
Opening hours. But someone had scratched a single number into the metal. 8:17.
This wasn't here before.
A faint creak, like someone shifting inside.
Did you hear that?
Daniel blinked, and for a fraction of a second, Ron stood in the doorway, still, watching, then gone. Back at the house, they laid everything out in the soft light on Daniel's old desk. Every photo, every drawing, every scrap of Daniel's childhood.
He's in all of these. Different years, different places, same face. Why didn't I see this before?
And then, a child's drawing. Crayon on cheap paper. Daniel's handwriting. Figures, standing in a formation. The same formation from Oak Ridge Lane.
You drew this when you were a kid? I don't remember drawing it.
And carved into the corner of Daniel's old desk, a symbol. A circle, split by a vertical line. Amanda quietly entered the room, pulled out a chair.
Daniel, you need to stop this.
Stop what?
He's been watching you since before you could walk.
Who? Ron?
Please, don't say his name in this house.
Her voice cracked. Not from fear, but from something deeper. Something like grief. The night is quiet. A clock ticking and the low noise of the wind outside is the only sounds Daniel could hear. The clock on the wall clicked steadily 8:16. Tick. 8:17. Everything stops. Silence. A deep, unnatural silence. Something moved in the hallway. Not a figure. Not Ron. Something else. Erik stays the night in the guest room on the bottom floor. He could hear a weird sound from the direction of Daniel's room above and got worried.
Daniel, you okay up there?
Daniel blinked. The shadow was gone. But the clock remained frozen. An 8:17. Some memories return to their own. Others are called back.